Makes me look even more frazzled. Okay, this is me again, and I know I'm posting this really, really late. Sorry, I had to deal with having to do this. Yeah, I was having to deal with a plumbing issue most of the day, so I also haven't been feeling very well. So that's what I've been doing all day, and that's why this video is so late. And I do apologize for that, even though some of you might be used to my kind of erratic schedule. Most of the time my videos kind of show up on Wednesday, maybe, kind of, sort of, generally. Okay, well, let's get into the reading for the next week. An optional 8th card if you would be what's or during a week that okay? The Hawk, or Four of Swords, and once again it's reversed. A lot of internal work being done this week. And the 4th card is going to be, once again, another reverse card. The Condor, or the 8 of Swords, reversed. Okay, and the 5th card, without even thinking about it, is the High Priest, and it's Ganesha. Five, and 6th card, almost there to the end of the week. Also reversed is Kuan Yin, or the Star. A lot of reverse cards, a lot of internal work, and a lot of external forces working on here. And the 10 of Pentacles, or the Rabbit, for your 7th day of the week. This is not reversed, once again. So those were your 7 cards for this week. Those would be the powers are kind of working in tandem this week. And well, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 cards were reversed, which means this is going to be very what's going to be working in your life, or what's going to be influencing you mostly is your internal forces right now. There's going to be external forces that kind of overtly snap you out of it maybe and push you in a different direction, but mostly it's going to be about what's internally going on with you this week. The beginning of the week is the Ibis, and the way I kind of pertain this card is a safety, a sanctuary. The swords are pointing outwards. They're protecting the colony of ibises that are in the center. And another thing about the ibis, I believe in Egyptian mythology, it was the ibis that correct me if I'm wrong. This is my interpretation of it. It makes sense to me. They basically brought the pieces of the god that had been torn apart by his brother, brought the pieces to the queen so she could put it back together. And this also amplifies the version of, like, this is a sanctuary, this is where you bring all your pieces together. And this is also an internal card where the mood that you're in right now, the forces that are working in your life right now on this first day of the week, is that you're putting the pieces back together. And it kind of, last week was a pretty deep reading about people having some issues going on, things being torn apart. This beginning of this week is putting things back together, and it's not necessarily someone, not necessarily you bringing the pieces together. Someone else, a friend, a close companion of yours that sees what's going on is going to help you bring the pieces together. You have to put the pieces together, like the god's wife. Their name escapes me for some reason. I know people are going to hate me for this, but I can't remember their names. But she had to sew the pieces of his body together, but the Ibis is the one that brought her the pieces, if that makes any sense. But okay, so the second card of this week is the World. It's also once again reversed. Basically, the wheel, not the world. Completely different card. The wheel is all about time, taking time. It's fate. And basically, you brought all the pieces together. You're sewing things together, and you're just waiting to see if it works out. And time passes. It's not really a lot of active. It's not an active card. It's not really at least in this reverse state, it's not really an active, an overt card. It's just you're waiting for the pieces to come together and things like that. And then the third card is the Hawk, or the Four of Swords, and this is a pretty active card. I'm seeing the Hawk as kind of like he's flying over his territory. He's hunting for something, and it's reversed as well, so it's a more internal hunting. So you're hunting for something that's inside you. You're looking for something. You're searching for something. It's not something that you absolutely have to have. I'm not thinking, but it's something that you would like to have. Something that would make your life more comfortable, because you've already got Four Swords. You're very stable in your thoughts here, but you're still searching. And the swords are all about the mind and the intelligence and learning and knowledge. You're seeking out knowledge is what you're looking for. You're not necessarily seeking out food. You're not seeking out shelter or anything else. You've got the stability. You're not searching out for something in desperation. You've got the pieces to put together, and everything seems to be stable, and you're just searching for something to maybe add to the stability, or even make it more affluent, or make it more comfortable, rather than just stable, making it comfortable. Stability and comfortable are completely different things. Anybody who has been in the process of moving from one home to another, or one situation to another, knows this. Homelessness, it comes to mind. Anyone who has known homelessness, I have not, very thankfully. Anyone who has known homelessness and has lived in their car or anything like that knows the difference between stable and comfortable. Very different. I'm not saying that I know the difference, but I know there is a difference, because I talk to people. But anyway, back to the cards. The next card in your day, your week, is going to be the Eight of Swords. It's reversed again, which is kind of interesting, and it's kind of like, and it's a condor, another bird of prey, which is interesting. And he's not necessarily, the one in the middle is kind of waiting at the rocks. He's waiting at the rocks for, like, I keep getting the impression of his lieutenants going out and looking for things for him. So at first it was the Hawk going and looking for things for himself, but now you've got your lieutenants. You've got people together that are looking for the same thing, or looking for things similar, and you kind of got a pack of three together. Like you've got your 2 friends. You've got 2 people that are supporting you. Maybe a spouse, maybe a closer friend, something of that nature. That are helping you look for this knowledge. But I'm not saying that it might not be external people. It might be just these are internal things. So you might be just looking internally, sending your thoughts out to different things, or sending out your spirit helpers and things of that nature. But it still has this kind of a search pattern. It's not a 7 that's complete. It's an 8 that is moving beyond the completeness, if that makes any sense. Once again, moving away from stable into comfortable, or moving from comfortable into, when you're comfortable in something, you kind of want to stay there. But when you're comfortable somewhere, it's stagnant. You're staying in one place. 8 is moving beyond that comfortable, stagnant place and moving beyond that, and things of that nature. 3 is also a very it's a number of I don't want to say creation, but that's another word that has connection to it, but a manifestation. 3 is 2 things coming together and creating a third thing that's beyond them, but it has them in there. It's like a mother and a father, someone and their partner coming and creating something. That it has a little bit of each one of them, but isn't really one of them, but just has pieces of them, and it is different. That's kind of what I see in this card as well. And the next card is an interesting one. It's the High Priest, and it's a right side up card, or upwards facing card, or whatever. And it's Ganesha, the High Priest. And the story about Ganesha is that he was once a knowledge thing, but I personally don't think he was a very practical knowledge person. And I say this in all greatest respect for Ganesha, but the one story I know of him makes him look kind of like someone who is very strong, but very and has lots of knowledge, but not a lot of practical know-how. Knowing when to kind of bend. Because the one story I know of him is when his mother was bathing, he is given the duty to guard the door, make sure nobody comes in. Well, his father, or her husband, comes over and says, "Okay, I want to see my wife now. She's in the bath. I kind of want to see her." And he won't let him in, so he gets kind of pissed off and cuts his son's head off. And the end of the story is he does get the elephant head because his mom's so pissed off at his dad, saying, "Give me back my son." He said, "Well, I can't give him back his head. It's kind of gone, but I can give him this," and he's just as good. But it's an interesting story. But anyway, it kind of shows. The high priest isn't necessarily what I get from Ganesha is that he's got lots of knowledge, and if you want to go to someone for lots of knowledge, the high priest is a great person to go to. But it's not necessarily practical knowledge. So in combination with I think what you learn from Ganesha is that you need the knowledge, but you kind of have to be in motion. You can't be impractical with it. You have to have the knowledge is a piece that you need, but it's not something that you need indefinitely. You've got the knowledge now. What the hell are you going to do with it? And things like that. That's kind of the forces that are in work here. That's what the powers that be are saying. That okay, you've got the knowledge, you've gathered all this knowledge, and you put the pieces together. What the hell are you going to do with it? Okay. So in the next card, kind of points in that same direction, is the Star, or Kuan Yin. Star is about a lot about hopes and dreams and things like keeping a positive outlook. Kuan Yin is the absolute poster girl for the positive outlook. I mean, she went to hell and back and was still a wonderful person and eventually got turned into a goddess for it. I mean, crap, really? um, this card saying, okay, the rabbit. The fire rabbit, and on the lookout for something and things like that. How they were always in constant. But what that kind of states to me is that you have all the knowledge, you've got the compassion, and she's saying you've got the knowledge, you've got enough knowledge, you can move beyond just the book learning and go into the practical things, and then you're moving into the practical things. And the world does have a lot of fears connected to it, but you need to work through them, those fears. And they're practical fears. You should be afraid of certain things. Poverty is not great. Starvation is not great. Getting mugged isn't great, but those are fears you need to work through, and you need to be practical about them. You've got the knowledge, and you need just to add a practical aspect to that. Okay? So that's pretty much what this week is all about, is moving through a cycle of gaining knowledge and then putting it into practical use, and then moving on and becoming a creative, wonderful person that you are, or more creative and wonderful than you already are. But yeah, that's what this week is going to be about. So picking up the pieces and moving on. That's pretty much what this week is going to be about. So I hope you guys have a very good week, and I hope all of my plumbing issues get resolved soon. Cross your fingers. Alright, and you have